Hello. So another little book review, and it's what does it say? Yeah, mystery cults in the ancient world. I've literally just finished this one. Been reading it a bit over the past couple of weeks, and it's if you're interested in more sort of academic, scholarly kind of work, this is more your kind of thing. It's not a particularly light read in a way, or I mean that by it's a bit specialized in what kind of interest you're in. I would say if you're interested in rituals and ceremonies and the ancient world in general, then yes. And one thing that does need to be emphasized here is it does stick mostly to, well, completely to ancient Greek and Roman life. And it covers Dionysus mysteries, what do you call it? Eleusinian mysteries, Mithras, and all kinds of bits and bobs. Like even right up to the present day, like right at the end, it mentions a connection between like Pentecostal churches with the people with snakes and such. Um, and hmm, I'm trying to think what I can say about this exactly. Let me just have a quick browse through. Yeah, because they do go into like ecstatics. Because like Dionysus, they wasn't all ecstatic cults, and the reason they are called mystery cults is because you're meant to keep them secret and no one's meant to talk about them. And this has led to lots of crazy speculation and people come up with all kinds of nutcase ideas. This book is not like that. It's kind of just sort of saying these are the facts, this is what we can see. We're probably never going to know. And even if they told us what it was, they probably didn't know anyway. And for my own reasons, I think there's a fair bit of truth in that. There's also one point he tries to get on straight away, which his name, by the way, it's Hugh Bowden. No idea who he is, to be honest. But yeah, pretty nice work. Um, what was I saying? Yes, one thing that he does point out, which is really relevant, I think, because you see lots of people going about, oh, they use drugs in these ceremonies and to induce these states and blah 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 blah. He's sort of saying, well, you don't really need that at all, which is very true. And they talk about a certain drink they had, like barley water and wine, and um I don't know if anyone watching this, if any of you have experienced something which is a bit more where you these sort of ecstatic kind of states, which are usually produced through doing things which you'll see repeated throughout most religions. You know, it's the dancing, hyperventilation, loud noises, kind of sensory disorientation, all of these things, yeah, and sensory deprivation. All of these things can induce these kind of states, and you don't need any drugs at all. And there's no kind of reference to them that much. There's people like to infer it because they like to make this belief. At one point, he was making right at the end, he sort of saying that the Dionysus rituals and things where they go up the mountain and dancing, chanting, whatever they do, and like people comparing this to the rave culture, like going to a rave, going dancing, and then connecting it to the drugs. And I just sort of saying at the end, like, the common feature here is not the drugs, it's the banging, loud, rhythmic music repeatedly. You don't need the drug to induce these states, and we know this anyway. So it's kind of nice the way he dismisses that. Again, it's possible that, you know, they'd mix it up a bit here and there, but there's no reason to believe that that was the case, especially if you're of my kind of ilk and you believe in all of this comes from something else, which is more to do with memory systems and oral tradition. But I'll get into that in a bit, maybe. So if you're looking for a very balanced overview and a brief history. There's one thing that he does pick out as well in here, which is how we've probably all seen this on some popular series is made on TV where the Romans bathing in blood and that. And yeah, this probably happened to some degree. And the people who are mentioning it, though, they're Christians and they're trying to sort of dismiss this pagan thing. So you need to look at it from that perspective, as in these ceremonies were going on once Christianity had taken quite a grip on the Roman Empire. And so, yeah, paganism was frowned upon in all forms. And these kind of mysteries, they died out. When was it now? Oh, was it like 300, 400 CE? In a common era? So, yeah. And there's one thing I really like about this is, how do you say it? The Telesterion, which was in Athens, the Eleusinian Mysteries, which seems to be like the main core of where these other things are sprouted up from, as well as the Isis Mysteries and a connection to the Mother Goddess. So it seems like some kind of Egyptian influence has come in, and it's also sort of been combined with Demeter. And in the Eleusinian Mysteries, and what we see repeated across these, the Mother Goddess, or Mother of Gods, they refer to this as, and it does seem like there's people would go into these kind of initiations, and they might not even have the same gods, which leads me to, anyway, I'll come back to that later. And so they're following a common theme, which is the myth of oh my god, I can't, the unpronounceable name, excuse me a minute. Yes, Demeter and her daughter. Oh, Demeter and Kore, or the other version is, again, because it crosses over into Roman mythos as well. And also, it does appear that the Egyptian mythos has been taken on. Oh, come on, what's your name? I'm not going to be able to find her now. Who went down to the underworld and came back again. And there's this kind of, there does seem to be something in common here. Oh, come on, where's the name? Perphone... Ah. Oh, here we go. Here's the Bacchus rites, which again is Dionysus, basically. And... yeah, Demeter and Kore in the Greek, and the Roman equivalent, or is it the other way around? I get confused. Oh yeah, of course, that's the Roman. The Greek one is... I will find it. I just look at the back and find it. P. Here we go. Persephone. Yeah. Yeah, daughter of Demeter. Yeah, no, the rape of Persephone. How she was taken down to the underworld. And then finally released. And there seems to be something common in all of these rituals, even right up to the Pentecostal one, which he mentioned right at the end of the book, where it's getting to a state where you're kind of like a near-death experience. You're kind of at a heightened state of awareness in a way, where the world kind of... the real world is more like in the distant background, if you know what I mean. And they're kind of stuck in this moment. Again, you could sort of relate it in a way to sort of some Buddhist nirvanic revelation or something like that. There seems to be something going on there which is very similar. And what is interesting as well, in ancient Greece, practically every citizen seems to have gone through this initiation, in the Eleusinian mysteries at least. And they'd be described in a way that people will be exhausted after this. So it's some kind of really highly emotional situation. Again, I think this is why a lot of people relate it to this drug thing, because people talk about ayahuasca and having the same. There's some kind of relation there to what's going on, but you do have to understand that you don't need to take hallucinogenic drugs to have these kind of experiences. They can just happen anyway if you're in the right environment. And the Telestrion in Athens, which was built and destroyed and rebuilt again as it got destroyed by the Goths and such. This is more in the Roman period, obviously. They would have like these big columns around it, and it'd be able to house like 1,000 people. So it's almost like a theatrical performance. And you do one initiation one year, and then you come back the next year and do the second initiation from the other point of view. So it's like you get two separate perspectives. I think on the first one, you basically go in there without knowing what's going on, whereas the second time you're observing this happening to someone else. And it does seem to be instances of blindfolds and dark light, dark and light, and rhythmic music. So there's no need for any drugs in here. That's basically the point I'm trying to make. These states can be induced. And it's interesting to see how it kind of relates to mythos in general, and like the Greek mythology, and how, well, for me personally, how philosophy arose in ancient Greece, and how there seems to have been like with Thales, like who's the first philosopher. He seems to have like everyone would just refer to everything happening in a mythological sense. He was the first to kind of move away from that and start looking at the natural world as in things causing other things rather than gods. And this is now getting to more what I think is of interest in this, and what really grips me more than anything is I'm of the belief that in this situation what is happening is you're going from a civilized society that has remnants left over from the more sort of, in full on air quotes here, shamanic rituals. Shamanic as in the sense of that Messiah Eliade says, like the broad kind of category of what happens around the world, not just specifically the group of shamans in like the Siberian region. Not talking about that, which most people don't know about anyway. People just think shamans are all over the world. So in a broader sense, I'm using that term. And what I think appears to be happening here is you'll find this in lots of non-literate cultures where they pass on their knowledge orally. And then once they go through stages of initiation as they get older and older and older. And the stories and the myths and the dances and such that they learn, they will then be revealed to them what they mean. And embedded in this will be lots of knowledge about the land, how to live with it, the seasons, all of this kind of stuff. And stories like Through the Stars, because it's something we don't have today. We had like I think of it really as like in the past, like if you wanted to store information for the future, what would you do? You'd need to refer to something which is constant. And there's nothing constant on the planet. Rocks move, trees fall down, the stars stay pretty much the same. So that ties into that. And again, then it's a matter of storytelling, and heightened emotions help you develop memories. You can probably see where I'm going with this, with the connection with these mystery cults. I do feel, probably by the stage that we got to here, and with the rise of like Athens, as in coming into prominence and dominance, I think there's this sort of transitionary phase where some people still understood the use of these memory systems, and clearly they did, but they've been separated from the mythos. And this is where things have gone a bit mixed up. And now why they refer to cults, I think a lot of people are just sort of carrying out the processes. They enjoy the experience of it and these extreme emotions. And it is reveals something, but it's not being used as a means of teaching or learning anymore. But I think that's kind of what they were trying to copy. But it's very speculative view I have here of this. But it seems to me, I say very speculative. I've got so many dots seem to connect up. And I might review in the future the Mystery Code by Lynn Kelly, which really ties into this. Really, really quite highly ties into this idea. Well, anyway, I think that's about it. What more is there to say about this? I say this is not for everyone. If you're interested in basically the culture, religion of ancient Rome and Greece, this is a pretty essential thing to have, because it's not making any kind of crazy predictions about anything. It's just saying these are the facts. This is what we got. And he's not getting speculative. He's kind of dismissing a few things, which, like with the drug thing, again, he's not being dismissive, just sort of saying, well, yeah, maybe we should not just look for that as being the answer to everything. And there's some little interest in there with a relation to Mithras and Persia, but again, he kind of dismisses a bit of that, rather than it seems like it's just it's something that's just crossed over at some point through the cultures. It's not really like there was a cult happening in Iran, which was the same, or in the Persian Empire, and then got developed. But it's yeah, it's an interesting one. Anyway, there's not much more to say about it than that. I could go into a lot more. Again, I will refer to this in the future, I think. And yeah, I will pull out more points about that in the future in other videos. But yeah, bye-bye. That's that.